Alrighty, let's get started. So, I'm going to make this presentation kind of as a precursor to the next presentation. Essentially, the next one will be doing an example problem involving a Venturi meter that uses manometers. So I figured it'd probably be a good idea to quickly review hydrostatics, at the very least, in case you have a question on hydrostatics or how to do it. I can show you how to do that. So a few bookkeeping things first. One, I have two little pups running around. They got the case of the zoomies, so in case you hear their pitter-pattering, sorry for that. And then two, the clouds outside my office are looking very dark. So in case a lightning bolt strikes nearby my house, I am sorry for the jump scare on a tutorial video. So didn't think I would ever say those things in my life. Anyways, let's get to it. So in general, hydrostatics, think of it as just you have masses of fluid on top of each other. You'll find out later that we typically don't care so much about the actual mass itself, but the pressure exerts. So think of like the mass per area of the tube that is in. But in essence, you can see here that we have individual masses. They have their own weights, but when you stack them on top of each other, at the bottom, the weights add up. So again, I said we don't really care so much about the weight itself, more about the pressure it exerts at the bottom, right? So this entire slide is essentially just a proof, in case you don't believe me, that the diameters of the pipe don't really matter when you talk about pressure. I know that when I first went through this, it kind of seems counterintuitive. Like, definitely for this one, you have way more mass on top, or way more mass at the bottom, rather, than the one on the right. But again, when we talk about fluid dynamics, it's better to talk about pressures than weights, right? And you'll see why later, but notice how the math cleans up a lot nicer. Cool. So I wanted to kind of go through a systematic approach to hydrodynamics. I'm kind of stupid, so I need to have things that are really systematized. So basically, I don't know if you hear the squeak in the background, sorry. But in essence, I want to have it to where I have to think as little as possible of how I use the equations, and I should have something that is highly repeatable, right? So I kind of developed this algorithm. If you're thinking to yourself, no duh, we've seen this in class, it's exactly what she wrote, or what have you. Oh, well, I'm happy for you. Again, I'm not the smartest, so I just thought of this real hard and kind of made an algorithm that I can use without really having to think. The only real thing that I have to think about is if I'm going up or down. If I'm going up, there's going to be a minus sign out front. If I'm going down, there's going to be a plus sign out front because I'm gaining pressure, right? The only other difference that I do too, this is one thing that I always struggled with in undergrad, was I would flip these around, so Z low minus Z high, and then I'd get confused about what is what is the path that I'm taking, what should be the positive sign. So for me personally, I just have high minus low, no matter if I'm going up or down, and the sign out front is determined by if I'm going down, I gain pressure. If I go up, I lose pressure, right? So here, for instance, I made this crudely drawn thing in paint. Sorry if it's hurting your eyes. We all can't be perfect. Anyways, so I'm going to start at 1 and I'm going to end at 2. So we start off with a known oil pressure, and then we go from 0 to Z1, so Z1 minus 0. We went up, negative sign out front. Z1 to Z2, again we went up, so minus sign out front. Notice that we changed the densities because we're in different fluids. Z2 to Z3, we went down, so we gained pressure, it's positive. Z3 to Z4, so Z4 minus Z3, we went up, it's negative. We again went up, Z4 to Z5, and we end up at our unknown pressure, right? So, real simple stuff, nice and easy. One thing that you can do is instead of using this rho g, you can clean it up and use the specific weights. So rho times g for your specific fluid. Do not use specific gravity. That's something entirely different. I understand it's confusing, but anyways. So here's another example. I saw this one a lot on like exams or homework. Essentially, you are given the pressure at the start, pressure at the end, and you want to figure out the height of one manometer. So everything is given, but this Z1. Something important. These specific weight values or densities in general can be found on Engineering Toolbox, and for the gases, I just assumed 20 degrees Celsius, right? So anyways, let's begin. So we're going to start here. We are given the pressure of argon. Start at Z tank, and then we drop down Z1, we gain pressure. Then we go switch over to mercury, Z1 to 0. Cool, did it just freeze? That's awesome. Oh, there we go. So again, we go 0 to Z2, Z2 to Z3, Z3, Z2. So I understand that you could see that these two self-cancel. That's okay. I wrote it down because I don't want to forget about it. Okay, this is... Some people I've noticed were like, aha, I'm going to mentally cancel these, and then they somehow screw themselves up. So I didn't. Okay. And then we do Z2 to Z4, and then Z4 to Z5. Notice how we're going up, so these will be minus signs, and then Z5 to Z6, then we're down, and we add them. And then we end up at our final endpoint, right? So you can see here, I threw in all the numbers in case you wanted to do it yourself, and you should get this value. Let me know if you're not getting this value. It could be that I did the calculations wrong in Desmos, but I am 99% certain that this is correct. I also completely just made this up. This problem, not the whole, the math that goes behind it. But yeah, so let me know if this helps. And the whole reason I wanted to go through this once again is to talk about one of the practice problems we did in class. So that does it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.